The Battle of Ulundi, July 4, 1879. Where ancient traditions met the age of steel.
Intro, the Day of Reckoning.
July 4, 1879. On the golden plains of Zululand, the morning sun burned like fire. The drums of war echoed across the valley of Ulundi, the royal capital of the Zulu kingdom. This was no ordinary battle, it was the final reckoning between two worlds. Across the White Umfolozi River, the British army gathered, over 5,000 men, armed with rifles, artillery, and cavalry. Their bayonets gleamed under the rising sun. Leading them was Lord Chelmsford, the man haunted by his defeat at Asandalwana 6 months earlier. He had returned, not just to win, but to redeem the honor of the British Empire. On the other side stood King Cetshwayo, the proud ruler of the Zulus. He had rallied his final warriors, 20,000 strong, armed with spears, shields, and courage born from centuries of tradition. They knew what was at stake. If Ulundi fell, Zululand would die with it.
Part 1. Flames from the Ashes.
After the crushing defeats at Kumbula and Jinjindlovu, the Zulu nation was bleeding. Entire regiments had been wiped out, yet King Cetshwayo refused to surrender. He told his warriors, "If Ulundi falls, our spirits will have no home to return to." Villages were abandoned, women and children fled into the forests. Only the warriors remained, standing in the royal kraal, their spears glinting in the sun, their chants rising like thunder. They shouted in unison, "Zulu, Zulu, today we live, or we die as free men." Meanwhile, far to the south, the British army advanced relentlessly. After half a year of brutal lessons, the British had learned well from Asandalwana. Never to scatter, never to march unprotected, and always to fight in solid formation.
Part 2. Chelmsford's Final March.
At dawn on July 3rd, the British army crossed the White Umfolozi River. Long columns of infantry, wagons, and artillery stretched across the hills. Chelmsford raised his sword and declared, "Tomorrow, we strike the final blow, and end this war once and for all." That night, silence fell over the camp. No laughter, no songs, only the hiss of wind through the grass, and the faint crackle of campfires reflecting on weary faces. They all knew, Ulundi would be the field where reputations were reborn, or destroyed forever.
Part 3. The Iron Square.
Morning, July 4th. The sky was clear, the air still. From the distant hills came a sound, deep, rhythmic, unstoppable, the Zulu drums of war. Chelmsford immediately ordered his men to form a massive hollow square, each side 100 meters long, 4 ranks deep. Inside the square stood the artillery and wagons. It was the perfect symbol of modern warfare, a moving fortress of iron and discipline. Then, over the ridges, they appeared. Tens of thousands of Zulu warriors surged forward, their black shields shimmering, their white plumes dancing in the wind. They sang war songs that echoed across the valley, proud, fearless, ancient. The Zulus advanced in their legendary horns of the bull formation, 2 wings sweeping wide to encircle, while the chest charged head-on. But this time, the enemy before them was not scattered or unprepared. The British held firm. When the Zulus came within range, a storm of fire erupted. Martini Henry rifles cracked in perfect rhythm, tearing through the grass and smoke. Artillery roared, shells burst among the ranks of warriors. Still, the Zulus came on.
Part 4. Spear against steel.
They shouted, "Bayete," the royal salute. Wave after wave crashed against the British square. Men fell by the hundreds, but the survivors pressed forward through the smoke, their spears raised, their faces painted with courage and blood. Some reached the very edges of the British lines. There, The clash of steel and spear echoed like thunder. But the firepower was too great. The square did not break. The pawns of the Zulu formation were torn apart by shell and bullet. The battlefield became a sea of dust, blood, and smoke. The proud Zulu charge, that had once destroyed whole armies, now broke upon a wall of iron. And when the drums finally stopped, the silence was deafening. Then came the order Chelmsford had waited for. The 17th Lancers rode out. Hundreds of cavalrymen charged through the smoke, sabers flashing in the sun. They cut down the fleeing warriors, driving them from the field in chaos. The age of the Zulu spear was ending, under the hooves of the empire.
Part 5. The Fall of Ulundi.
By afternoon, Ulundi was burning. The royal capital, part of the Zulu kingdom, went up in flames. The huts, the cattle pens, the sacred grounds of the ancestors, all consumed by fire. From miles away, smoke rose into the sky like a black banner announcing the end of an era. King Cetshwayo escaped with a handful of loyal guards, hiding deep in the forests. But the British hunted him relentlessly. Weeks later, he was captured and sent in chains to Cape Town. When asked if he regretted his defiance, the king simply replied, "You have conquered with iron and fire, but the spirit of the Zulu will never bow."
Part 6. The End of a Kingdom.
The Battle of Ulundi marked the end of the Anglo-Zulu War. Zululand was annexed, its lands divided under British control. Its once mighty regiments scattered. Thousands of Zulu warriors lay dead on the plains, fallen in defense of their king. Their homeland, their way of life. The British lost fewer than 20 men. It was a victory of technology, but a tragedy of humanity. In one morning, a proud civilization that had stood for generations was shattered by the industrial age. Yet, even among the victors, few could look upon the field of Ulundi without feeling the weight of sorrow. They knew they had witnessed not just a battle, but the death of a nation.
Part 7. The Legacy of Zululand.
Today, in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, the site of Ulundi remains, a quiet field beneath the African sun. Only a few memorials stand where thousands once fell. But among the Zulu people, the story is still told, of King Cetshwayo, and of the warriors who fought to the last breath. They remember not defeat, but courage. Not the fall of a kingdom, but the endurance of a spirit. And when the wind sweeps through the grasslands, you can still imagine the faint echo of that ancient cry. Biete, hail to the king.
Ending. The fire that never dies.
Ulundi was more than a battle. It was the moment when tradition met modernity, when spear met steel, when honor met empire. One fought with rifles and discipline. The other, with pride and soul. July 4th, 1879, the day Zululand fell. But in the hearts of its people, the flame never went out. It still burns, quietly, defiantly, in their songs, their dances, and the stories they pass down from generation to generation.
So, you have just finished watching the final battle, the Battle of Ulundi, which concluded the entire war between the British Empire and the Zulu Kingdom. In the Anglo-Zulu War of 1879, there were a total of 9 major battles, from the first battle at Inyazan to the last battle at Ulundi, where the fate of an entire nation was decided. Have you watched it all? If not, come back and watch the whole series, all on the Turning Point channel. And don't stay away for too long. Because in the near future, other battles of the British Empire, from the Egyptian desert to the Indian jungle, will continue to be recreated here.
See you again in the next journey of the Turning Point, where history speaks, and the past comes alive through each frame.